The meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. I don't think it's actually like up yet though.
Oh
Is
yeah, it is. You clicked live, so we are live on YouTube. What's going on, YouTube?
okay.
How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. We appreciate everybody who joins in, or if you're watching, if this is not a live stream when you're watching this, thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. We appreciate everybody who tunes in. But this is our first breakdown banter after hours. Sam and I are going to be just talking, chatting about your favorite Star Wars, Marvel, DC, you name it. TV shows, movies. We're just going to be chatting, talking about it. And we hope you guys join the ride on YouTube. And Sam's going to be going live on TikTok shortly, where we are on the road to 1 million views on one of our videos. So make sure to go to check our TikTok out. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And of course, if you are watching live on YouTube, make sure to smash that like button and grab the subscribe button. We really appreciate everybody and their support. So as Sam's getting the stream set up, we're just going to be chatting around. So thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, so actually while I'm setting up some of the things such as the description, the thumbnail, all of that, you want to give people a little sneak peek about the topics that we'll be discussing.
I mean, we're just going to be chatting and we'll see where the conversation takes us. But I want to start it off with is Heath Ledger's Joker the most iconic villain of all time? And we could talk about that and where that leads to the Joker era and which Joker is the best Joker and you name it. But I recently watched this movie this past weekend. Actually, I'm writing a paper about it for one of my classes in college, and I honestly can say I got chills watching it back again, just because I mean, I appreciated the way Heath Ledger played the Joker, but when I went back and watched it, I was like, holy, this guy put a phenomenal performance on, and unfortunately, he lost his life before the
Mm-hmm.
movie was released. But Christian Bale himself said that it would be a dishonor to not release the movie because of how iconic of a role he played. So I just wanted to know if, I mean, in Christopher Nolan's Batman: The Dark Knight, is Heath Ledger's Joker the most iconic villain ever? Marvel, DC, you name it, ever.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I don't know if even necessarily Heath Ledger's Joker, the Joker itself is such a figure that's extremely iconic. I think, as you can see, for example, in the background image that I'm using on my Zoom meeting, and also in the thumbnail, we have a couple depictions of the Joker. So he's certainly an iconic character. I know Marvel really pushed hard with Thanos. They really wanted Thanos to be that level of character, but I don't know.
It's different with Thanos though, because we're
Mhm.
talking about iconic. Yes, Thanos is iconic in his own right. He did what he did in Endgame and in Infinity War, and we will always remember him for putting the cherry on top of the Infinity Saga and making it all tie together so perfectly. But when you look at a single performance, when you
Mhm.
look at what Heath Ledger did to be the Joker, um, that's crazy in
Mhm.
itself. Because this man literally was trapped himself in a hotel for a month
Mhm.
and wrote a diary as if he were the Joker, trapped with his own thoughts. He learned that he was getting the role. This was before they even started production. This was he was getting ready to put the face paint on, to have those scars on his face, and he was literally preparing to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a completely like great accomplishment in terms of the acting. You were saying iconic villains. Are we limiting ourselves to just superhero villains, or can we go off the
Yeah, you
charts and just
can
say? I
you can
think
go
that
off.
Heath Ledger's Joker is on the same level, maybe one level under, like Darth Vader, like that level of just
Yeah.
iconic. I think Darth Vader a little higher. because
Yeah, I was
um,
about to say
that's the most iconic villain I could think of. But Heath Ledger's Joker is up there with
Where would you put Loki?
Loki's a weird one because he's not even really a villain. He
No,
wasn't
but
even
I mean, he was
he
kind of
was a
like
villain for a
destroyed New
move
York.
for one movie, and he wasn't even that good at it. And then he was kind of an anti-hero for the rest of his time.
So
Also, Rodney, appreciate you joining in on the chat. Always
Donahue,
a
is it
pleasure
the
to see you.
boy?
Yeah, it's the boy.
What up?
Always a pleasure seeing your name pop up in chat. So just we're
You
kind
don't
of
even know. You don't even know how happy that got me, bro. Pleasure having you on the stream. You know we always appreciate you joining on. But
Yeah, we're
yeah,
doing it a little different this time because the watch party is tomorrow night. So today we're just doing general superhero talk, and we'll see where the conversation goes. So if you want to join in chat, any questions, anything, any theories you might have, doesn't just have to be Marvel or anything. We could dive into that. But anyways, back to the conversation. Just wanted
yeah,
to do a little intro.
yeah. So we were talking about most iconic villains, and I kind of want to touch back on that Darth Vader
Hmm.
and then Heath Ledger's Joker right after that, because Darth Vader, I mean, before our time, really was a staple of the comic book and the kind of shift from comic books to movies. This world, this universe of Star Wars really took off what we now know. I mean, it's no longer a nerd culture, it's popular culture.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I love that idea that nowadays nerd culture and pop culture are one and the same.
yeah.
Whereas maybe you just go 20 years ago and it's not even close. It's you're a loser for liking all this content, and
Mhm.
now it's the most popular stuff that exists, right? Yeah, that's a really cool point that you brought up there.
Yeah, but going more on how iconic
Hmm.
Darth Vader is and how even putting Heath Ledger in the same sentence, I mean, I don't know who else I could put there. I mean, we haven't gotten a true. I mean, if we get a Doctor Doom, that's like truly iconic. He's going up there in my opinion. Doctor Doom's like the most my favorite villain of all time, and I just can't wait for that to come into the MCU. But man, with Darth Vader, what do you think? Why do you put Heath Ledger in the same sentence as Darth Vader?
Yeah, so I mean, story wise, it's not even close. Darth Vader is above and beyond, right? He's the main villain for three movies, and even now they're still. I mean, they made an entire prequel series about just how he came to be. It's
Yeah.
not even close. It doesn't compare. That's not where I'm taking this. I'm saying that every single scene Darth Vader is in, all of the eyes are on Darth Vader. Doesn't matter if he's fighting Luke. Doesn't matter if he's with the Emperor. He is the
Was it Rogue One where he had that amazing scene at the end of the movie?
yeah,
That
where he
was
just
that was
slaughters all the
oh
rebels.
my God, that was probably one of the best Darth Vader scenes. I mean, Rogue One, questionable movie. It's not the best Star Wars movie, but those last I, I don't know 5 minutes where
It was the closest thing to what feels like Star Wars in the Disney era.
well, you haven't seen Mandalorian yet.
It's a different story. That's a TV show. I'm talking about a full length movie.
It's basic. It's canon, so
Mhm.
um, you need to watch that. But I won't get into Mandalorian details. But the Darth Vader cameo when they're bringing the Death Star blueprints to Leia Organa, um, that's probably one of the best cinematic sequences we've ever seen of Darth Vader. I was watching the older movies, 4, 5, and 6, and yeah, they're great, but we who grew up on it in like the 2000s and stuff like that, we're watching it for the epic lightsaber fights. I mean, we're just being real. Like and 1, 2, 3 provided those, which is why I feel like we don't give those a lot of hate just because we did. I mean, they're not the best movies, but we grew up on them. We enjoyed them and we enjoyed General Grievous, Kenobi and
I
stuff
think
like that.
that Yeah, the original. I mean, we'll talk about superheroes in a minute, even though the title is superhero talk. But I love Star Wars. We could talk about Star Wars all day, all night.
Hmm.
But I think it's because the prequels, right, are so focused on like the our age crowd when we were watching them. It was more built for little kids. Obviously, that's what Jar Jar was for, and everybody hated Jar Jar because like a clear pandering to a younger crowd. So yeah, obviously when we were little, all we wanted to see was lightsaber fights and blasters and all of that. But I mean, as we get older, it gets a lot easier to appreciate the original movies, which are hands down the best trilogy that Star Wars has to offer. And the question of Heath Ledger's Joker being on that level as Darth Vader, when I said that, I don't mean it in terms of iconic for um, generations, because we're still talking about Darth Vader now. It's been 50 years, I think,
Yep.
since the first movie came out. I don't think that'll happen with Heath Ledger, unfortunately. He was only in one movie, and Batman is not the same type of product as Star Wars is. You know, you're not going to put Joker's face on everything, whereas you walk into any Disney World and there's Darth Vader everywhere,
Yeah.
right? What I mean is every scene he's in the movie doesn't matter if he's sharing the screen with the protagonist like Batman. It doesn't matter if he's on a boat. It doesn't matter if he's in walking into a group of mafiosos. You know, I can make this pencil disappear.
Yeah.
But every single time he is on screen, that's the only thing you're watching.
He was the star of the film, even though
Mhm.
he was the villain.
Yeah, and
And
it's the same effect that Darth Vader had, where when he's on screen, it doesn't matter what else is going on; all eyes are on him.
and he challenged a lot of social issues during the film as well. He made Batman choose between two people, tricked him obviously because that's what the Joker does. But then the social experiment at the end of the movie with the two
Mhm.
boats, the boats filled with criminals and the boats filled with civilians, and both of them have a trigger to detonate the other boat
Mhm.
before midnight, or the Joker will detonate both of them, and then they both elect this. They both decide to not blow up the other ship, which shows that humanity still prevails. And although Joker's insanity was, I mean, it was iconic. There's no other way to put it. Heath Ledger did an amazing job, and I mean, it's we can't even say enough to what a performance that movie actually was.
Mhm.
But I I'm curious to see, like, can we put any other villain up there? You wouldn't even put Thanos with Heath Ledger. All right, so what's, like, if you did a tier list, what would be your S tier of like villains displayed in films?
Okay, so I mean, all time, I still hold the belief that Darth Vader is probably the most iconic villain in any movie
So is he just the
ever
S tier
made.
by himself, or
That
he's like
I
as
don't.
close?
I mean, can you think of anyone that rivals Darth Vader in that top? Any movie doesn't even have to be action, whatever. Like, um, there have been obviously really well
I
written,
liked
strong villains.
nah, I like Venom, but he's like a B tier. He's not an S tier, but
Mhm.
he's one of my favorite villains just because of how iconic he is. But we haven't seen an iconic depiction of him. I mean, yes, we saw a pretty good film, but we didn't see. It's not iconic just yet. Hopefully, it'll turn out to be. But I mean,
By the way, I'm gonna cut you off right there. I'm about to go live on TikTok, so if anyone's watching on YouTube, we're about to also go live on our TikTok. And if you haven't checked out our TikTok, you're missing out. We're putting up some of our best content that we're producing out there on that platform. So I'm about to go live there. Hopefully, we'll also get some more people on the YouTube live stream as a result. So just give me a second while I intro that for our TikTok crowd.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Hey, what is up, TikTok? My name is Sam from Breakdown Banter, and we're going live talking all things. We're talking about superheroes, we're talking about Star Wars a little bit, we're talking all things movies, and we're taking questions from chat, getting fan theories, and some interaction from you guys. So, as people start joining in, I might repeat this introduction, but we're talking all things superheroes. You probably don't see him, but Jonathan is on the other side of that screen.
Hey, hey, hey.
So let's get it popping. We'll be taking questions all night. Continue what you were saying. We're talking right now about superheroes hero, or not even
Super
necessarily
villains.
superhero, but just top villains of all time from any movie franchise. Doesn't have to be superhero, although I mean that's our expertise, but could be anything.
Yeah, so we were saying that Darth Vader's S tier just because of how iconic of a role Darth Vader is. But let's say we're focusing on the superhero genre. We take Star Wars out of this. That's when it starts to become interesting because when
Mhm.
you go DC and Marvel, I feel like the two S tiers, uh, one from each is Heath Ledger's Joker, and then we get Thanos from Infinity War and Endgame. So I mean, Thanos, you all know what he did. Like everybody knows what he did,
Mhm.
and that's why it's S tier worthy. Like you know what I mean? Like if it was like Thor: The Dark World, and like I can't even remember the Dark Elf's name, but
Malekith.
Malekith. That's what it is. And I know it after like you say it, but I can't. It doesn't roll off the tongue. And Thanos is just an iconic villain. I will say Silver Surfer from the original Fantastic Four movies back in 2000 and whatever.
Hmm.
He was a villain when he first came in and then, helped out in the end, but Galactus they that was chalked. Like they shouldn't have done that at all.
No,
It was
okay.
just a
Let's
floating
not
cloud.
talk about those Fantastic Four movies. Those movies
But
were.
what I'm saying is the only thing that we can get out of that was the
Mhm.
Silver Surfer's depiction was actually good.
I think Silver Surfer is a really cool character, and it's really hard to do him in a movie. I hope that the MCU might
Sam,
try
you
to
already know
fix
that
it. Uh,
you already know that it's going to be like a perfect integration into the MCU like in a
mhm.
grander scheme. It's their first family. It's literally what the
Yeah.
comics were built
Although I
off
think
of.
they're probably going to do what was it, Fox did with the character, where they don't actually bring him in right away. I think they're probably going to do like a regular Fantastic Four movie without the Silver Surfer, because he's such a complex character, because he's so powerful, and he's not really a good guy. He's not really a bad guy, and he's one of the most immortal, powerful beings in the entire
You know
universe.
what happens when we get Silver Surfer?
What's up?
We get Galactus. Because he is a herald of Galactus. And you're
Yeah.
talking about the complexity of that character in general. There's so much that comes with I mean being a herald of Galactus. You literally do his bidding. You go and prepare planets for him to be
Mhm.
eaten. And when you run into Earth, you run into problems. We've already seen that with Thanos. We've already seen that with a bunch of other people. But I do believe that with the introduction of Fantastic Four soon, hopefully, that we
Soonish,
will
probably
we will
like 2 or 3
be
years.
yeah, we will be officially getting Galactus as the next big bad, and it'll be like instead of the Infinity Saga, the World Eater Saga or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, that's why I think they're actually not gonna do Silver Surfer in the first Fantastic Four movie that they're coming out with, because I don't think
They'll
they're
tease
ready.
it.
What's up?
They'll tease it at the end.
They could tease it, but I don't think they're ready for a Galactus storyline just yet. Because it seems like they're setting up a secret invasion storyline, and I don't know if they could run both of them parallel side by side. And they've already done so much teasing. It's kind of like Thanos level teasing right at this point, right?
Hmm.
Because Thanos was in the Avengers cutscene. He was in pretty much like what, like 5 or 6 movie cutscenes before he ever even made an appearance in the real movie, like the main runtime of the movie in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he's in there for 3 minutes,
Talking
right?
to Ronan, yeah.
Right. So it seems like that's the level of preparation they're doing for a secret invasion scrolls
Yeah, but
kind
I feel like that's gonna be more of a show rather than a big event. I mean, it's gonna be a big event. It's gonna mess with our minds so much that we're not even gonna be able to understand it, like WandaVision until the show is over. But it's I don't think it's gonna be Secret Invasion. I know it is confirmed that Super Scroll is the big bad for the Fantastic Four movie, right?
Yeah, that was a big rumor that was going around. Obviously, I don't know if Marvel officially confirmed it,
Okay.
but it's one of those things where a lot of fans have been seeing reason to believe that Super Scroll will be the main villain of the first Fantastic Four movie. But that movie is so secretive; they're keeping it so under wraps that that rumor could change about 100 times over by the
And
time
it
it actually
probably
comes
it
out.
probably will. But yeah, this is gonna be a ride. I mean, just Phase 5 in general. We, the way it finished,
Mhm.
like we still don't know. Like we've seen like a few things, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision,
Mhm.
but none of those have happened after Spider-Man, uh, Far From Home.
No,
None
they're
of those have
keeping it.
happened
They're
yet.
keeping it pre um, that movie. It's all
Yeah.
prequels to that.
So that what I'm trying to get at with that is that we have no idea what the world looks like when Mysterio wins, even though it looks like he died in that movie, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
Mhm.
Um, Marvel, he's Mysterio. It's not that easy. But
Nah, he's been a scroll this whole time. I'm telling you.
I wouldn't be surprised. I I mean, how convenient would it be if Peter Parker was a scroll and he could just change and no one would know his
I don't know
identity
about
anymore?
that one. I don't know about that one. I think that they're gonna probably stick to minor characters and then maybe one guy. But by the way, anybody on TikTok, if you guys are just joining in or on YouTube watching, let us know who you think might be a scroll in the current MCU because we know Secret Invasion is coming. For anybody that doesn't know, the scrolls are the shapeshifters that we saw in WandaVision. We saw a little sneak peek. We saw it in Spider Man Far From Home,
Captain
and
Marvel.
we saw it in Captain Marvel, big time. And then we also get a little sneak peek of them in the Loki trailer. So we know scrolls are here to stay in the MCU. We haven't seen it yet in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's 2 episodes left.
I don't
Maybe,
think we will, Sam. I
maybe
mean,
we
maybe
will.
like another cutscene like we did with
Mhm.
WandaVision, but imagine they just do another scroll cutscene and then the whole world's like, all right, can you just give it to us already? Like, we enough of this, like feeding us little Easter eggs and Loki trailers that you
Mhm.
see a scroll in the background of the TVA, the Time Variance Agency. Enough of that. Just give us the real stuff. Give us what we came here for. We came here for. I mean, what even role are the scrolls going to play? They can shapeshift. I
Mhm.
mean, they're going to infiltrate. It's going to be like a Hydra infiltration of Earth, kind of.
So in Captain Marvel is kind of weird because I need a little refresher on that movie. I haven't seen it in a little while.
Hmm.
They were played as the villains for the first half, right?
But
And then
then the
halfway through, they did like a little switcheroo where now they're the good guys.
yeah,
But
they're the villains in the comics.
they're the villains in the comics, right? They've been the villain.
Yeah,
They've been portrayed as the bad guys for all this time. Um, so are they going to go back like another switcheroo on Captain Marvel? Like, oh, psych again. They have been bad this whole time, or what?
oh, you know that what they're gonna do isn't just gonna be some cheap kind of cutaway and just say,
Mhm,
oh, they've been bad this entire time. They were just playing Captain Marvel to infiltrate. Nah, something's gonna go down
mhm,
that the humans, or I mean, the sentient weapons or something like that that we saw in WandaVision, the colorless vision, white vision, whatever his name
mhm.
is. Um, something's gonna something's gonna click in the scrolls' minds that is gonna be like, okay, we thought we were safe on Earth and now we're not because we're being hunted or something
Mm.
like that. There's gonna be some sort of event where the scrolls become the villain, and
So
then
why were they then infiltrating and breaking into Shield, for example? Like we saw Nick Fury
I
is
don't
not
think that
Nick
was
Fury.
infiltration, Sam. I think that was intentional. I think Nick Fury is working with the scrolls.
I mean, has anything that Nick Fury done
I
throughout
think Nick Fury
Marvel
wasn't even Nick Fury
to
in
begin
Age
with?
of Ultron. Like he's been in space since before Age of Ultron. That's my opinion, and other people may disagree with that, but there's decent there's decent reason to believe that that is the
Mhm.
case.
That Nick Fury, the or Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury,
Hmm.
was not actually playing Nick Fury. He was playing a scroll pretending to be Nick Fury.
Yes.
Ever since Ultron. So you think that it
Well,
was real
because
Nick
we saw
Fury?
we saw Captain Marvel was based before all the other movies Maybe not before Captain America. I'm
Yeah,
not 100%
it's
sure.
the second oldest in the
Okay.
timeline.
So then Nick Fury's known
Hmm.
about Skrulls this entire time. He didn't
Hmm.
tell anybody, which seems a little sus, but that's probably Marvel just doing their thing. Like they decided to do Skrulls later and
Hmm.
never mentioned it. But Marvel doesn't really do that. So I feel like there's some sort of reason that Nick Fury didn't. I mean, not to mention he doesn't tell anybody anything. But
No, okay, I'm gonna stop you for just a second though, because you're like Marvel doesn't do that. For the past 10 years, Marvel has been setting up Infinity War and Endgame.
mhm.
I don't know if they had enough time to sprinkle in things for post Endgame at this point. That's why now I think they're trying to go back and retcon some of the older stuff. That's why we see, for example, Loki's show where he's gonna be breaking reality, right? And then we have Wanda breaking reality with the multiverse, Doctor Strange, and all of that. So I think they're kind of trying to retcon a little bit of their old movies, just so that they can have the opening for, oh, this has been a threat this whole time,
Yeah.
and that way they could introduce a lot more iconic heroes like the X-Men and Fantastic Four. Because at this point, who do they have left? In the MCU? Like, who is still a viable headliner hero?
Thor,
We have Thor,
Hulk.
but Thor is with the Guardians now, right? So we'll
Hmm.
see how long that stays around. The next Thor, I don't know, is Love and Thunder a movie or is it a TV
Love
show?
and Thunder's a movie. Coming out 22, I believe,
Mhm.
2022. Maybe 21. I doubt 21. It's 2022 probably.
22.
And
But that's
it's
going to star more of Natalie Portman
but
Foster in that role than Chris Hemsworth
no,
Thor.
Chris Hemsworth is going to play a very large role. He's still Thor, Sam. So when your name is in the movie, like
Well,
you're,
Thor's a title, right? It's. I mean, I know his name is also Thor Odin's son or whatever, but like, it's more. They're playing it more as like a title
it's
of.
gonna be Sam. He's gonna play a large part in that movie,
Mhm.
like no doubt. Like he's gonna be the main character, and then Jane Foster is gonna play like not a secondary role, but a complementary role. They're gonna play complementary roles to each other, and I'm assuming that they're gonna clash heads at first, and then they'll start
So then, would
teaming up.
Thor be the first one that's not a trilogy? Because we had Iron Man had 3 movies, Captain America had 3 movies. Um, I guess you could say Avengers had 4, but Infinity War and Endgame are just part 1 and 2 of the same
Hmm.
thing. Um, Thor is now going to be on his 4th.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're not going to get too much more Black Panther content. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
I know they're going to still do something. They're going to give him like a more proper send off in the MCU. They were talking about that. There is a Wakanda Disney Plus show that they're working on, and I think they still have Black Panther 2 in the works. I don't know how they're going to handle that, but Spider Man. I guess Spider Man's a headliner hero.
Oh
That's
yeah, Spider-Man for sure. You still have the Hulk, which I would love now that they have the rights
do
for
they
a
now
Hulk
have the
solo
rights?
movie.
Is that official?
Yeah, yeah. That's why they're doing the She-Hulk
Mhm.
movies as well, this series as well. With Mark Ruffalo is also going to appear in that, so that should be pretty cool.
Well, yeah,
But
but Don Cheadle appeared in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We wouldn't say that he was
yeah,
really in the show too much.
yeah. But let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier a little bit, Sam,
Mhm.
because there's rumors to be either a new character introduced next episode or a
Yeah, a lot of people
cameo.
are saying it's going to be Steve Rogers, but I'd be really surprised if it was. I think this might be another Paul Bettany saying that he's so excited to work with this
Mhm.
guy, and it's himself. Um, that's what
Maybe
it
old Steve.
maybe old Steve. That's possible, but I don't know what their contract is looking like with Chris Evans and Marvel. I know he's been reacting on social media
Yeah.
a lot to John Walker. Maybe that's something where they're setting it up and teasing it. But I saw a really fun theory that they were throwing around there. And it's that Marvel has a bunch of Netflix shows that they need to somehow bring into the MCU that aren't quite MCU yet. And the way they could do that is making the what's it called, the Power Broker Kingpin from Daredevil,
Okay.
because the power set kind of matches up. He's the guy that just has a big network of influence, so that could be a really quick and easy way, especially because there's a
Well,
pretty
Daredevil's going to be introduced
Spider-Man,
in Spider-Man
right?
as as his lawyer.
Right. So that's why, like, I was seeing a lot of buzz online of what if they bring in Kingpin as power broker and they don't take him down. Sharon Carter is gonna be probably like working for him, or maybe double crossed him or something, because this is another thing. I don't know how many people know about this. They Marvel actually released a Mad Rapport tourism website, and there are some secret Easter eggs hidden in that website where if you type in the right code on different locked areas, you could actually find a wanted poster of Zemo, of Sharon Carter, of Falcon, and of Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
So our original theory that it's going to be Sharon Carter as power broker, probably not going to happen considering she's wanted. Why would she be wanted by the power broker if
Mm-hmm.
she is? But there's still a very big connection between Sharon Carter double crossing the power broker.
We still never got answers to who
Mhm.
Sharon was talking to at the end of episode, was it 3?
Yeah,
And what?
that woman that she got in
Yeah.
the car with.
Yeah, like what was that whole scene about? Like they kind of left us on a cliffhanger here. I hope they answer it next episode. But
Yeah, and we're really gonna go in detail tomorrow night at 2 a.m. Eastern time. I guess Friday morning, if you want to look at it that way. While we preview Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we're going to do a whole live watch party. So if you guys are on TikTok tuning in, we're going to be live streaming there. We're also going to be live streaming on YouTube. So definitely check it out. I know Rodney is always down for some live watch party. If you're still in chat, Rodney, appreciate you for tuning in. But
Sam, I just wanted to give our TikTok following a quick shout out because our video actually jumped 160,000 views today.
yeah, you're talking about the new master one.
Yeah.
Oh man, that everyone that's tuning in on TikTok, really appreciate you guys. It's a fantastic community we got growing on that app, and then also we're also on YouTube, and really just appreciate all the love and support. And
Yeah, if you guys are listening on YouTube, on TikTok, make sure to go check out our YouTube channel. If you click the Instagram logo or the YouTube logo on our bio page, it'll take you, it'll give you a few options and click the YouTube option and make sure to go subscribe and click that bell so you guys can join our live stream tomorrow, our live watch party tomorrow for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
yeah, and be sure if you guys are interested in anything, just drop a chat down below. Let us know that you're watching, and we'll be 100% sure to respond. Especially while our streams are still small and getting started, we'll be sure to respond to every single chat.
Sam, I'm sorry. It just went up 3,000 by the time I just refreshed it.
Wow.
It's going crazy.
To the
Thank you.
moon, new master to the
To
moon.
the moon. To the moon. Let's get that to 1 mil views. I mean, that would to see 1M on our page would just I mean, it would mean the world
Same.
to us. Show us that what we're doing means a lot to you guys and you enjoy the content that we're putting out.
I was reading through some comments. At this point, there's more comments than I can handle, like responding to. But I was reading some of those, and you guys crack me up. The community is so funny. Whether roasting the character or throwing up their own theories, that's what we love to see. And hopefully, we'll make some more content for you guys that's just as engaging, so that you guys have something to talk about.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about, we could stray off of superheroes for a minute here. Game of Thrones put out a little cryptic tweet
Did they?
for their 10-year anniversary of their first episode ever airing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in Game of Thrones iconic fashion,
Mm-hmm. What do
the
they say?
tweet was, "Winter is coming."
Mm-hmm.
Now, since we are nowhere near winter in the real world, do you think
Uh-huh.
this is just a nod to the show, or does this mean anything? Because we know that we're gonna get a House of Dragons prequel, so maybe we're gonna get some trailer or some footage coming out soon. This is what people are speculating, but I want to know what you, Sam, think about. if this
Winter
means
is
anything.
coming. Okay, so you're saying it was the anniversary of the first ever episode
Yeah.
of the show. Oh, when is that? Do you know?
I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm not sure.
Okay, so the recently, I mean, listen, they took like 7 seasons for Winter to come,
Hmm.
right? So a couple months, not that crazy for them to say that. If we don't want to read into it, which we are going to do, but if you don't want to read into it and you want to be skeptic, it's just an anniversary. That's the most iconic line from the show. Even people that don't watch the show know what Winter is Coming means. They know that's a reference to Game of Thrones, and maybe a lot of people even who don't even watch the show know it's a reference to the Stark House, right? But it's a lot more fun to talk about what it could mean. Or that's a little bit more than just a nod to the first ever episode. Um, yes, there is going to be a prequel. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing some more content about that. Any trailers, any leaks, any info, we will be live reacting to. Oh, the
Oh,
second
100%. Yeah.
because that stuff is wild. I was a little late to the Game of Thrones party. I didn't have HBO for the longest time, so I know you kind of grew up with it. I was more binged it a few years after it was done. But
Yeah.
you
So I kind of hopped on the Game of Thrones wave during high school. So like, oh God, 6 years ago. Um, which is crazy to think about. Like that show is my favorite show of all time. Not even close. Like Breaking Bad maybe comes second, but I don't even know. What are your top shows, Sam?
yeah. So Game of Thrones up until season 6 was beautiful. The best show I've ever seen ever.
Yeah.
7 and 8, as much as people love to, you know, talk smack about it, it was still better than probably like at least 50% of the shows that are on TV.
Yeah.
There are a few shows that were quite better, and I was a little disappointed with how they handled a few of my favorite characters. But overall, still, as an overall product from start to finish, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Number one by far. Um, yeah, I love Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, I think, is one of the only shows I could think of off the top of my head that didn't suffer from the problem that Game of Thrones did, where it actually ended when it was supposed to.
And
Uh,
they gave us a really good prequel with Better Call Saul and a movie El
mhm.
Camino. So like that was a uh,
Yeah,
pretty
I
good thing.
think that was like the most satisfying ending that a show could have that was that big. They weren't scared to just end the show when it was supposed to be done. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
didn't want to drag it out because right now, for example, like Simpsons, right? I love the Simpsons, but come on, you're just doing the same thing over and over at this point. Like, there's no new story to tell.
Hmm.
I know it's a different type of show where it's not like a recurring storyline. It's something different every episode, but it's still the same idea, right? At a certain point, enough is enough. Um, those
Well,
are
don't
the
knock The Simpsons, man. I love that show.
yeah, but you go back to like the original like 15 seasons or something, and it's different quality than it is now.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think because those are always the first two that come to mind when someone says, "What's your favorite show?" After that, it's kind of like there's a lot that are tied. I guess I really liked Stranger Things, at least the first season. The
Oh
first
yeah.
season was awesome, and then the second one was kind of the same thing as the first one. They had to go wait a third season until Will Byers isn't just being tortured by the
Yeah.
upside down. Um, but then outside of like this serialized, I love Rick and Morty. I love pretty much all of the animated adult leaning content, right?
Yeah.
Like the South Parks and Family Guys of the world. Those are always fun. But what would you say? What else makes your list?
Well, I have Mandalorian pretty high up there. I feel like it's one of the highest production uh,
Mhm.
things that Disney has put out, not movie wise, show wise. Um, it's kind of tough because I mean, during the pandemic, I've seen like 80 shows. There was a point in my life where I was watching some show about Uhtred Ragnarsson, who's some Viking who's conquering. I don't even remember, but it was entertaining for me. I'm
Mhm.
still waiting for a new season. They're letting me down a little bit, but man, it's difficult because Like I wouldn't even put WandaVision up there, although I did enjoy it a lot. Like it doesn't warrant like a top tier show.
No, WandaVision, I think it's a fun one because I don't know how big it will be in a year's time.
Hmm.
I think it's one of those shows where you watch it if you really love the characters, you watch it when there was a lot of hype. But I don't know if it's one of those that's going to be so big that you can't miss it. You know what I mean?
Where would you put The Office?
Oh man, oh man, we're allowed to talk about The Office now. I love The Office. That's a show that you could watch over and over and over again and never get bored of it.
Hmm.
I think Parks and
If
Rec.
Narcos up there? I don't
I
know.
liked Narcos, but I honestly, until you just mentioned it, have not thought about it since I finished watching it.
Hmm.
So, I guess Breaking Bad is just a better in that category of like drug cartel shows.
Yeah.
I just like it better. But no, Narcos was good. It was a fun time to watch.
All right. So before Kevin Spacey and all that stuff came out,
The House of
um,
Cards.
yeah, House of Cards was a really good show. I would
You know what show
recommend
had a
that.
fantastic premise but never went anywhere?
No,
Last Survivor or Designated Survivor.
I did watch Designated
We watched that
Survivor.
together. I
Yeah.
remember we would get on like FaceTime or something and watch that show, and it had the best premise, and then it just went nowhere. For anybody that doesn't know who's watching on YouTube or TikTok, this show, if I describe it to you, you would think it's like one of the coolest ideas ever. But then, if you actually go watch it, it's like so unsatisfying.
Hmm.
Basically, and this is like a real thing. The premise is based on the fact that anytime there is a State of the Union address in the United States, there's one member of it doesn't even have to be Congress. It's just one member of the government
The government. Yeah.
that is designated in a separate area as far away from Washington D.C. as possible in case there is a terror threat that wipes out everybody, period, right?
Hmm.
That he is still a surviving member of an elected official that can run the government while they recuperate. That's a real thing. Like, you could go look that up, whatever. um, the story follows a designated survivor who actually had to fill in for the role and how he's adjusting to life in this new environment. There's a whole mystery element of it. Oh, hey, what's up? I can't read your name right now. Uzam Kid Zoro. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. What's up? We're just talking about our favorite shows. Designated Survivor, not our favorite show, but really interesting premise. Want to know what you guys have to think. We're fantastic. Thank you for joining
I,
us.
I liked I liked The Boys, Sam. I told you I would recommend you watch that. It's on Amazon. Um, it's a little out there for our younger audience, but I wouldn't recommend it for our younger audience. But definitely that's a really really good show.
Mhm.
I finished watching it and I was like, oh, okay, this is not what I expected. It's not what you expect, and it's just it gets better and better as the show goes on, and that's all I want to say about it because I don't want to spoil it for you guys and Sam who have not watched it. So
Yeah, that's a show I haven't gotten around. That's on Amazon Prime.
yeah, Prime.
With all these streaming services, you might as well just get cable, right? The whole point of like a Netflix was that, or a Hulu was that you get to save money, and now it's we got Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Hulu. Netflix still has originals that you don't want to miss out on. You don't want to miss out on the next season of Stranger Things. Hopefully, that actually comes out soon, right?
By the time the show's done, the kids are gonna be 20 years old. Like,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's the direction they want to go. I don't know, but HBO Max, right? Especially when this new Game of Thrones prequel show drops, that's gonna be buzzing. And on HBO Max, you also get the Snyder cut. So
oh yeah,
I got around to checking that out. By the way,
thank
we didn't
God.
talk about that on stream or anything, but yeah, I've been so busy just with school and work and stuff. It's been hard to keep up with all the new releases. It seems like the floodgates have opened, right? I think it's the pandemic really made it hard for them to film last year.
Hmm.
But now that they can, it's just pumping out content. It's kind of like trying
Oh
to
yeah, it's good.
post.
It's kind of a great time for us to get into this field because you already know that everybody's sitting on content that they had before the
Mhm.
pandemic and couldn't release it, and now they're getting their cast back. They're finishing the production, and we're gonna get a boatload of content. Like I feel like it's gonna be something that is just gonna come out of left field. Like there's just gonna be, I mean, content for days. Like it's gonna be ridiculous at one point. Like we're gonna be talking about one thing one week, and then it's gonna be old news.
Oh
Like
yeah, I mean,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is gonna be old news. The second Loki drops, like
mhm,
WandaVision's already old news, and it literally happened like a month ago.
exactly. And I mean, the craziest thing, and try to just wrap your mind around this. By the time Black Widow comes out, we could very realistically be watching that in theaters. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I were lucky to have gotten vaccinated. I know right now. I think in our state, anyone over the age of 18 qualifies.
Yep.
So they're pumping those out really fast. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the country. I could only speak from personal experience, but they're pumping those out quick. And once people get that vaccine, they're immune, they're safe. We might start seeing movies in theaters again, which is going to be a blast.
Yeah. So
Because
with Black Widow, they already confirmed that it's gonna be a in theaters release, and then Disney Plus, you would have to pay $30 to watch it.
yeah, because it's kind of like if you get a little party at home, that's
Hmm.
how much you'd be paying for in theaters, anyways.
I mean, in theaters, $30 is two tickets, so
Right.
you get a little bargain watching it at home, but
Well,
you don't get the
except
theater
for the
experience.
monthly payments of Disney Plus. Nobody gets Disney Plus for 1 month. I'll tell you that. But I don't think Endgame, for example, would have been the same if it was straight to stream, right?
Oh
Because
yeah, absolutely not. I mean, the crowd reactions were just incredible. Like um you were in the theaters, and I mean, didn't we watch? No, I watched it with Jake in Tallahassee.
yeah.
Um it was insane. Like we were standing up cheering, screaming for Iron Man. We were screaming for everybody.
Oh
When
yeah.
when
Oh,
Cap picked up Mjolnir, like oh my God. Like the dynamic in the I was literally about to call it a stadium in
oh,
the theater.
dude, it was. Listen, I couldn't get normal seats. I had to sit in the front row, and like at a sporting event, that's fantastic. At a movie, and on a giant IMAX screen, that's not the most fun.
I actually saw that movie on release, and we were lucky. Like we got the premiere of that theater.
Mhm.
So like we got lucky with our seats because we like reserved them, and we literally like were camping the
Way in
website to buy
advance.
that. Um, but we had to camp the website. It was like a Supreme drop or something. Like we're camping right when it opens just to
Mhm.
get tickets to a movie, which is how you know. I mean, nothing will ever. I hope something tops that. I do hope something tops that. You know what I mean? Like I don't
The
want
only
my.
thing that could have come close to it was when Force Awakens came out, because that was what, like 20 years since the last time Star Wars made a movie.
Sam, I feel like if they follow up the Infinity Saga with something crazy, it's gonna happen again.
If they're patient enough to wait 10 to 15 years for a new one, yeah.
Oh yeah, they are.
But again, so they
You already know Marvel's cooking up something now for 10 years down the line.
yeah. The hard part that I can't wrap my mind around. I'm sure they have a plan, but the hard part for me to wrap my mind around is you can't just redo Endgame. You have to be bigger, you have to be badder, you have to have something that sets it apart. Um
Galactus.
Galactus maybe, sure, but eating planets or wiping out half of life in the universe, right? Like which
Well,
one is
we see the difference between comic book iterations of these characters, and we see
Mhm.
them in the MCU. Galactus could be a giant planet eater, but he can also do a lot of other things in the
Mhm.
MCU. We're gonna see now. Hopefully, they do the multiverse right, and they don't ruin our expectations, ruin the MCU, and then we just ignore the post Endgame movies and all that stuff just because, like, with the Star Wars, like people didn't like the one, two, threes and stuff like that. Hopefully, it's not the case here with
Listen, I think that
MCU.
the new movies, the sequels, have made people appreciate the prequels a lot more.
Yeah.
Because the new ones just those I feel like the story wasn't satisfying at the end, right? Maybe if they kept Snoke alive in episode 8 and he was the big bad, um, instead of
Yeah,
bringing
but he was just a puppet.
Yeah, he was just a puppet. So the first two movies are kind of useless because the big bad was pointless all along, right? At that point, you might as well just watch episode 9, and that one wasn't even that good. It was an Endgame wannabe
Hmm.
at that point, right? A lot of potential. I feel like a lot of people had a problem with the characters. I liked the characters. I liked Ray and Finn and Poe. I wanted to see the adventures they would go on.
I liked Ray. Finn and Poe, I felt like could have had a lot more character development to
Mhm.
them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they should have had more to do,
Yeah.
especially in that last movie. Um,
Ray was cool because like she's a Palpatine and all that. I mean, spoiler warning, but like this whole entire episode is spoilers. So, um, she's literally a Palpatine, and that's like the Thanos level villain
mhm.
in Star Wars. Like he made Darth Vader his Loki. Like he did his bidding. You
Yeah, I
know what I
think
mean?
there's a huge difference. I think between a Palpatine and a Thanos. Uh, but I get what you're saying. With he was kind of the pulling all the strings all
Yeah.
along. It was Agatha all along. That's a better uh, parallel than Thanos. But no,
It
no,
was
I know what you.
Palpatine all along.
I mean, that's what the entire last episode of the prequel or of the
And
sequel trilogy felt
and
like.
Disney did a better job at pulling that in a 9 episode TV show than in
Then
Star
a nine
Wars, a
episode.
multi-billion-dollar production.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's funny, but that's really what that last movie felt like. It's the last two movies that you just saw and got invested in. Yeah, forget all that. Let's scrap it. It's been Palpatine all along.
all right, how cool would the last fight would have been if we saw like evil Force ghosts of like Darth Vader pull up and like
Mhm.
she had to fight Darth Vader and like oh that would have been insane. Like
Anyone but Darth Vader, because we saw his fourth Force Ghost in the end of Episode 6.
yeah.
It's Anakin now. He's
Hmm.
redeemed himself. By the way, Force Ghosts only come about, but for the Jedi, the Sith don't get Force Ghosts.
Yeah, I would have liked to see some sort of. It would have been insane had all the Force ghosts of the Jedi's fought all the evil Force
Mhm.
spirits or whatever we would call them of the
kind of
Sith.
kind of like what Luke did in episode 8, but just like a little different.
Mhm.
Some kind of like astral projection,
Oh yeah,
dead people.
oh yeah, Sam. That would have been the most iconic scene of all time. You know what? Hire me as a director. I
Come on,
got you.
Lucasfilm, listen up.
I got you. I will put. I know what the fans want. I am a fan.
Mhm.
What better? I mean, let's take it away from the corporate guys. Let's take them away from the decision making and just give it to a fan. That's why we've seen the MCU be so successful. Because Kevin Feige, pure fan,
Yeah,
pure
I'm
fan.
actually really curious what a big franchise like that would look like if they just let the fans maybe
Imagine a Star
write.
Wars franchise that had like 20 plus movies like the MCU.
Mhm.
How insane would that be?
Yeah, I think, and this is something we've talked about off camera with some of our buddies. I think Star Wars has a much better universe than it does in movies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right? Because there three movies, like the original series, are just fantastic, like masterpieces of content. But even then, when you really like look it under a microscope and break it down, it's a little bit, it was a little cringy.
Yeah,
Right? We get over it because we love the movies, but we can acknowledge it. And then the prequels were really cringy, but they're a meme, so we love it.
yeah.
And then the new ones, I mean, they're probably the most well done movies, but
Just
then
because of the technology and the money that they have right now, like you can't really miss on
yeah,
an action movie, but it's not like a Star Wars
but then it's
movie.
not as satisfying of a storyline,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like they really like maybe hit two or three times
But
like
it's still
perfectly,
one of the most iconic
but it's so
universes.
great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Their universe is just so entertaining that you don't want to stop watching no matter what. And that's what really makes it exciting and really makes it fun. And if they did go big time and went for 20 movies straight, like Marvel did, I think there would be a lot more unity in the Star Wars community.
100%. 100%. I feel like if they kind of like here's how I would have done it. the the Silberverse. So we would have done a startup movie with Kenobi. I would have kicked it off with a, a young Kenobi.
You mean this is like post Disney
This is
buyout?
if I'm starting. I'm starting fresh right now, and I wanted to start like an MCU esque Star Wars verse. The Silververse is what I'm gonna call it. I would start off with the Kenobi movie, introduce Anakin Skywalker, not young. We don't need that, and don't do Space Jesus, please. Let's just do Anakin Skywalker's OP.
Yeah, no,
He's
I
like,
love the chosen one idea,
yeah,
but then when they made the whole Born of the Force
with the
parallel,
midichlorians, yeah, like, um, so I would do something like that, and then I would go off onto a second movie and make like an R2D2 C3PO spin-off. Like how fun would that be? That they're the main characters and it's just C3PO, C3PO and R2 just doing their banter, no pun intended there. But just that I just need to see that movie first of all. That's something I need.
no,
Um,
that's very like kind of like the
and
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I would get Taika Waititi to direct it. So
No, okay, so I completely disagree with you about how to start if we were starting from scratch for Star Wars. I think the way they started it was perfect.
you start with Luke.
A New Hope, uh, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. That is the perfect way to introduce Star Wars because that's the most exciting part of the whole story, right? That's the most iconic
Yeah, but what
part.
I'm trying to get at is that Thanos and Infinity War and Endgame are probably some of the most iconic movies that we've gotten. And
You think if
if you
they
wrap it up, if you I mean, and then you make Palpatine like the Thanos level villain at the end, like I feel like if you gave me 20 movies to outline something like this, I would be able to do it in a spectacular fashion that would get people talking about Star Wars even in higher regard. I'm not saying, guys, don't blow this out of proportion. I'm not a great director. I'm not anything like that. Whatever. But I have a way to make this happen. So put me in contact with Disney. You know, I'll sign the NCNDA or whatever you need me to do. And no, but seriously, I can make something happen, Sam. Like I get what you're saying that you should start with like the original trilogy, all that. That's like the meat and potatoes of Star Wars. But so is Kenobi. So is Anakin Skywalker. I mean,
Yeah. By the way, for in TikTok chat, appreciate the compliment about the Miami Dolphin shirt. If you guys are sports fans, by the way, check out our podcast where we talk all things sports, and we got some cool interviews with a lot of guys in the NFL and the NBA. So completely separate from this page, this channel, but someone commented on the Miami Dolphin shirt, so I wanted to bring our podcast into that. I'm pretty sure the link will be in our bio somewhere. But yeah, right before we're starting to pop on TikTok. More people are joining chat, so thank you guys so much. We're talking a bit right now about how we would do
the
the
Silververse
the
is
Star Wars the Star Wars universe if we had full control, unlimited budget, and Disney let us do whatever we wanted with it, which would be kind of fun. I don't know if Kenobi
This
is
could be
the.
a good TikTok series, Sam.
I don't think Kenobi is the focal point of Star Wars. He's
No, but see, you would do like a. So would you? All right, you would start with an Anakin film. Like that would be like the Iron Man kickoff.
So you think they could do something like Anakin, like the prequels, basically, is what you're saying? Go in canonical order, but then really go.
Like in-depth character development, like full movie on that one character rather than introducing a whole universe of
Mhm.
characters at once. Like
Yeah, I mean,
Chewbacca would get his own movie. Like
Chewie getting his own movie.
Yoda, like bro, oh my god. Like Count Dooku.
I think the fun part, the problem with that is the fun part of Star Wars is how,
But then you'd get like Avengers level movies where
but
they all come together.
they let Star Wars be a little ambiguous to make it more fun. That's where a lot of the magic of Star Wars comes from, where you don't quite know the character's backstory, so you just didn't imagine them being way more epic than you ever see them on screen, right? Like we see Yoda in the prequels, we see a little bit more of him, but like let's
Yeah.
just think originals, right? He's this little hermit dude chilling on Dagobah, and you're like, oh, you think nothing of him, and then he knows how to move spaceships with his mind,
Yeah.
right? So you just start thinking like, whoa, this guy is upper tier, like upper echelon level power, right? Um, and whatever you imagine watching it is probably way crazier than a director or writer can ever put to screen. You know,
But like I wouldn't say the same thing about like the Iron Man movies.
mhm,
Like the first Iron Man is probably like top 3 MCU movies in my opinion. It's
mhm.
just that because of its like level of
But
iconicness,
I think
if you want.
superheroes, Iron Man can exist without the Avengers,
Yeah, but
but
Sam,
Star
so
Wars
let me go back to explaining the Silververse a little bit, because like we would start off with an Anakin movie, then we would get a Kenobi movie. Kenobi goes on his own and decompresses after, and Anakin does some weird stuff that he's like not okay with, um, and then like we start tying it into the 4, 5, 6 stuff. We start going into Anakin having kids and Luke being born. Shout out Rodney Donahue in the chat. Have you guys seen the Suicide Squad trailer? We have, and we will be doing a reaction when the next one drops because it will drop soon. But going back to the Silververse, which is my interpretation of this the Star Wars universe. Um, Sam, if I did I not already sell you on it? Like,
no,
wouldn't you
not
sign up?
really.
Wouldn't you sign up for like a 20 movie MCU style? Now
I
that
would
Disney owns both of
absolutely
them.
I would absolutely love if they had a lot more Star Wars movies and content,
Mm,
but I think the original story was told in the perfect way. You know, let's just go 1 to 6. Episode 1 to 6. Um, if they wanted to tell it in chronological order over the course of 20 movies, fine. I think that all of the sequel trilogy stuff maybe would have been received a little better if it was kind of like in how Marvel does it, which is like a new phase. Like we know that this is the end of that
yep.
story. Let's just go into the next one. Um, because Star Wars was done as a set of 3 trilogies, where the next one was never really planned out while the current one is being made, right? And especially since the middle is the oldest one they've done, it makes it so hard to do prequel, sequels, all of that, right? There's not as much room in that story because from episode 4 to 6, it's a self-contained story. There's no more to tell. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like the Emperor's defeated, the Empire is down, Darth Vader redeems himself, Luke Skywalker is the hero, Han and Leia get hitched, right?
Yep.
And they all lived happily ever after. That's the end of that story. So anything post that,
Yeah, but
obviously,
I'm saying they can make one movie into like 6 movies. They
yeah.
really can.
But if they wanted to really expand, like for example, like the Clone Wars show, right? We get one movie, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, right? Or Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
But they had an entire like 5 season show about the Clone Wars that a lot of fans probably never even watched because it was an animated show on, I think it was originally airing on like Cartoon Network.
Hmm.
A lot of fans didn't even see that because they didn't think it was canon or whatever it is, right? There was a lot of storylines there that they could have made into full movies that people love.
Shokatana, bunch of stuff there.
And especially because that would have fleshed out the character of Anakin more, if they did that like in order, where it's not just he's a kid, he's an angsty teen, and now he's a bad guy,
Yeah.
right? Like if they really showed like, oh no, he's been a hero for a long time, and then here's his downfall. It's the Jedi Council failed him. It's uh,
Padme.
what's up?
Padme, passing away when giving birth to Luke and Leia.
Yeah. Someone in TikTok chat said his pet, or I can't tell, but their pet is named Anakin. That's actually really cool. Hopefully your pet doesn't murder a bunch of younglings and become Lord Vader, but hoping for the best for you. Um,
Yeah, just sleep with one eye open. That's all I can say.
unless your pet is like a fish or something and can't get out of it, then you're chilling.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so I'll you know what, if I start the Silververse TikTok series and you guys like it, I'll go through with it and do my whole um Silververse and how I would play Palpatine to be the main bad like Thanos was.
Mhm. Uh, he's just a young Padawan. Okay, so maybe if you start young instead of how they did in um, the first movie. I'm just reacting to chat right now. But anyways, yeah, that's funny. If anybody else has any pets who are named after Star Wars characters or Marvel characters, let us
Or
know.
anything. Just give us insight on. We love animals over here, so
It's always fun. But wrapping up that conversation of the Silberverse, which I
the
still find
Silververse.
ridiculous. Um, yeah, if they really want to expand Star Wars, like really go for it and do it, I wouldn't sacrifice the original three movies because I think they told that story perfectly. It's everything outside of that. It's how do you get Anakin to be a little more well written than he was in the
Mm-hmm.
prequels. It's how do you get Obi-Wan to really have like his own full storyline all to himself. It's I mean, what about even prequels? Like I want to know more about the Jedi Council and
Yeah.
the whole Jedi Order, how that was built. What about because originally the Sith were a lot more powerful before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the prequels, we see the Sith being like, oh, they're coming back. They've returned after 1,000 years of being gone. What were they like before that?
Yeah.
Like Darth Plagueis. Like we hear all these character names being brought up and then never fully elaborated on. That could be a way, in my opinion. That's a little bit more.
They had Sam that you were talking about this is the best universe. They have so much that they can
Mhm,
do. And they could do what I mean, Disney owns
mhm.
Star Wars now. So like they can literally do like a reboot and it would be insane.
I think not a single person would like a reboot. They would find that like just blasphemous.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, but if they wanted to go back and tell a Star Wars story, kind of like okay, I didn't really watch The Mandalorian. I watched like 2 episodes, but it's a Star Wars story, right? That's how they called it. It's in the same universe, but it's separate from the
Well,
main cast.
there's no. There's it's canon. I mean, this goes on after episode 6, I believe. Um, this is it's tied right into the universe. Sam.
No, I know it's canon. Obviously, it is, but it's not. It's not Luke, Leia, and Han, right?
I'm not gonna speak. I'm not gonna speak on that.
Okay, all right. Listen, fine. I'll go binge it in a couple weeks. Next week's are my finals, and after that,
Okay,
I'll binge it.
I
But
can't. I plead the fifth. Is all I need to say.
okay, fine. Let's go something that we've both seen, like the Han Solo movie, right? Like that
Solo.
was it was kind of an offshoot, right? It's this doesn't really impact the rest of this.
And they gave us Darth Maul, but
Mhm.
like that they confirmed that he's alive, other than in the Clone Wars, like when they did. But not everybody watched the Clone Wars. So like I feel like they just could have executed all of this a lot better after the original trilogy because that is
I think it's because the original trilogy was not written in the time of cinematic universes.
yeah,
It was written as let's just make a self-contained story. If it was redone now, which I would not like
the
actually,
Silververse, bro.
yeah, I would not want it redone because no matter what, you will always say it's not as good as the originals, right? Like no matter how good of a movie they make, it just will not. How do you recast Luke? How do you recast Leia? You know what I mean? There's only one Ewan McGregor to play Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi. There's just so many moments where you can't remake it. If it were up to me, what they can do that's still faithful to the show and the movie is either go really far back, like before Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin and all of these characters, or you could tell a story that's not going to mess up the events of this one, or go really far forward, where it's way past Rey and Finn and Kylo Ren, and now all of these characters are gone, and we're still in this universe. Um, I would like. I know they're making a Kenobi. Is it a movie or a show?
It's a show, and it's gonna have Christian Haydenson. I can't remember his name. The original Anakin,
Mhm.
coming back as Darth Vader, I believe. Um, We're gonna get Han from the Fast and Furious series coming over. Always got a bag of chips on him. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Kenobi. I'm excited for Mandalorian. I'm excited for a few other shows that I cannot even tell you about because you have yet to watch.
Yeah, but anyone that's currently watching on YouTube or on TikTok, tomorrow night we are going to be doing a live watch party of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're going to start at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. The episode drops officially at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, so we're staying up. It's called Breakdown Banter After Hours for a reason. But if you guys are interested in that, we are going to be live streaming tomorrow.
We ruin our sleep schedule for you guys.
Yeah, but it's totally worth it, honestly. But that's gonna be a wrap for this episode. This is our first time ever trying this kind of format. So if you guys enjoyed
Success.
it, let us know. Um,
It was a success.
yeah, I think it was a success. We got a little bit of engagement here in chat on TikTok, on YouTube. So had a fantastic time. If you
Shout
guys,
out the boy Rodney.
yeah, and so we will see you guys next time. We'll be doing it a little bit more consistently, I think, after our finals.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know the college life, you know the grind that the finals are. So stay tuned. We'll give you some more content in the near future. We'll see you later.